How do we get over a really shit day? If you find that when you wake up in a bad mood, your bad mood just follows you around all day and you just can't seem to snap out of it, then I'm going to give you some tips to changing that energy so that you can go from a space that is negative and you can transition yourself into a positive space so that days don't have to be all negative. We can have negative moments and then we can come back and we can feel good again because it's all within your control. So if you are a person who finds when something negative happens, you hold on to it for a long time, this video is aimed at you. If you're a person that feels like when you wake up in the morning in a bad mood, generally your whole day looks quite negative, then this video is absolutely for you. So sometimes we can get quite stuck in a bit of a victim mindset. So something negative happens to us, it shifts our energy and we feel low. And it takes some strong want and willpower to shift us out of that space. It might feel easier to just stay there in the negative. And in that space, what will often happen is maybe we're upset about one thing, but in that negative headspace, we start to spiral downwards. So suddenly we're thinking about all the problems in our life and we can't quite let go of those thoughts. And it feels almost out of our control, like those thoughts, those negative thoughts are just coming in, and we can then take on very much a role of victim. I can't do anything about this. This is out of my control. I just can't help but feel really, really bad right now. Remind yourself that you have complete control over your mind. Remind yourself that every thought that comes into your mind, you have a choice whether you go with that thought or whether you let go of it and think into something else. When you're thinking about the past a lot, you can always choose in that moment to get present, to ask yourself, am I aware? And come back into this moment. But often we don't want to do that. So why don't we want to do that? Why don't we want to feel good? Often our comfort zone is to feel bad. Often feeling sad and negative is more comfortable to us. One, because it's what we've known. And two, because from that space, there's nothing that we need to do. We can just allow it. Also, quite a lot of us feel quite uncomfortable with feeling good. So we have a habit of sabotaging. The moment something feels quite good and we feel quite happy, we unconsciously do something that brings us back into the negative, back into our comfort zone of being a victim and everything being wrong in our life. So we have to recognize that maybe we don't want to feel happy. Maybe part of us is actually afraid of feeling happy. Maybe we're afraid to receive that. Recognizing that's really powerful, even though that may feel odd, because surely we all want to be happy, right? But if we did, we would do something about it. The victim mind space and the victim mentality can often feel like the safest place to us. Often in things we were modeled as a child, maybe our parent was often in a place of victim. So it's our go-to. And it's about breaking that and realizing I have complete control over my life, over my thoughts, and over my own energy. When you feel bad, the first thing you want to do is ask yourself, what can I do for myself that's going to make me feel a little bit better? So if we're really spiraling negatively and we can't even bring ourselves to get out of bed, just one step. What is one thing that's going to make me feel a little bit better? Maybe just getting up and making coffee, maybe going for a walk, maybe having a shower. Something very simple and easy to action, and then go and do it. Do that thing and show yourself and your body, I am capable of doing something good for myself, even when I feel bad. Next, working on the mind. So a really powerful way of shifting negative thoughts is to come into gratitude. But it has to be true, authentic gratitude. It can't be, I'm grateful that I'm alive. Because quite honestly, when we're feeling really negative, sometimes maybe we aren't. Maybe we don't feel grateful to be alive. It has to be something that feels real. So in that moment, in that feeling of hopelessness and low energy and feeling awful about ourselves, we're feeding ourselves all this negativity. Choosing to have the control to close your eyes for a couple of moments, or keep your eyes open, it really doesn't matter, and ask yourself right now, what is one thing that I can honestly say I am truly grateful for right now? Maybe 5 years ago, you didn't even own a house. Maybe 5 years ago, you were broke. And maybe now you've got your own business or your first home, or maybe 5 years ago, you weren't in a relationship and now you are with somebody that you love. Or maybe you just love your children, or just something that feels like, I can feel into that. And I can feel when I think about that thing and a sense of love and gratitude in my body that makes my energy feel a bit better. And there is power in that. If you can choose to do that, you will change your energy in an instant. But often we don't want to. Often we don't allow ourselves to even try. So the biggest barrier is doing it. Actually doing it, because some of us are loving it. We're loving the victim. We're loving the sadness. It's like, oh, this is very comfortable to me. This is where I've always been. This is what I do. Breaking that cycle and moving into gratitude, it's different. It's not your comfort zone. It's going to feel hard. But the moment you do it and you start to realize how quickly you can shift your energy, the more that you're going to do that in the future. Okay, and then the next tip is overthinking often is due to underfeeling. So we are either in our head strategically thinking about all the things that are going wrong for us, or we're in our body feeling the emotion. Crying, feeling it, feeling the sadness, the heaviness in our heart. Feeling our emotions is a hell of a lot easier than thinking about them. When we feel into our emotions, generally, we might cry for 5-10 minutes. We might feel into something that feels heavy and painful and a bit uncomfortable in our body. Usually that passes very quickly. But often we're running forever away from our feelings by thinking about it. So noticing when you're in that negative space, when you're having that bad day, how much of it is thinking and how much of it is feeling. And taking a moment to close your eyes and just drop into your body. And just say, if I don't think about this problem, how do I just feel? Like, do I feel low, heavy? Do I feel pressure in my body? Do I feel tense? Do I feel afraid? Is there like a sadness in me? Do I feel like I need to scream? I need to cry? Like on a very primal level, how am I actually feeling? If I don't think about the problem and I allow myself to feel, it will pass a lot quicker than if we stay stuck in our head. And next tip, ask yourself, am I being hard on myself? Am I beating myself up? Am I like punishing myself for having this bad day? Like maybe I'm not so motivated today. Maybe I don't even want to do any work today. Am I full of guilt and negative words towards myself here? And can I come to a space of love and acceptance? Can I just say, today's a write-off? I'm going to write off today and I'm just going to be sad. Can I just allow myself that? Because sometimes that's what we need. Because maybe if we try to say, oh, I should be doing this and I should be doing that, what actually happens is we're just running, but those emotions are going to catch up with us at some point. And sometimes giving ourselves permission to take our foot off the gas for a day, a couple of hours, and say that that is okay, and move into a space of self-love and care for ourselves, almost as if we're caring for ourselves like we are an injured animal. If you think of a poor little injured animal that's hurt, how much we'd love that and how much care we could give that little injured animal. And if you start to see yourself a little bit like that when you're having a really bad day, start to really try to nurture yourself in the way that you would a little poor, defenseless, injured animal. And maybe you grew up in an environment where you weren't allowed to have a bad day. Maybe you always had to put on a front. You always had to be okay. So if that's the case, then you're probably going to feel bad for having a bad day. So try to remind yourself that life is just a balance, that good days come and good days go, bad days come and bad days go. life is always flowing, and whatever this is that's there for you today, it isn't permanent. Like, this too will pass is a very good quote to hold on to when it feels quite hopeless and dark. So I hope this video has been helpful. Remember that you have complete power to shift your energy, and it's amazing how quickly we can shift out of negative energy when we actually want to. So you have the control and you can choose. Thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe and like.